we're back.
Brett Giuliano will be on the show. He's got a book called Dusty Bunny Mafia. And the topic, get your meds for the day, will be a thin line between inspo and swipo. Yes.
Look at that. There goes Sam. Look at that nostril. You know, when I saw that, I was like, yo, I got a schnozzle.
I got a schnozzle.
Schnoz.
My schnozzle gets bigger in the comic.
I don't want to know about your personal life.
Well, I didn't think of that. You're disgusting.
You're disgusting.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Anyway.
Yeah, so actually, you know, while you were showing that, what I've been up to, I've been doing a lot of images and a lot of pinups. So here's one of the pinups that I just completed. Released the Crazies. And there it is. You saw me start it on a Kickstarter live show a week ago. And you saw me sketch it from a blank piece of paper. And this is the final piece. And then you joined me last weekend on live on IG and on Twitch and YouTube as I was coloring it. Here's the finished piece. I'm really pleased with this piece. And it's pretty cool to draw these characters. Really having fun. I haven't had this much fun drawing characters since There's Nail in My Toilet. You know, I think that was probably the most fun. There's Nail in My Toilet was probably the most fun I had drawing because it was so organic. And now that I'm really, really honing in the style and the look of these characters, I'm having fun. In the beginning was rough because trying to adapt to Emperor's style was very challenging. So I said, how do I get that look in my style? And maintaining their DNA. So every day, I'm always drawing them and until it's mastered.
Yeah, I think you've definitely injected your style into it, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely taken more of your style rather than what Impro actually was doing. So,
yes, I didn't want to mimic. I want to make sure I had my flavor. Here comes the brand new flavor in your ear. Time for new flavor in your ear. I'm kicking new flavor in your ear. Sam's got new flavor in your ear. So anyway, so this is Get Your Meds. And what are we talking about, Georgie?
Get Your Meds. And the reason why I say that's a good segue is because the topic of today is a thin line between inspo and swipo.
It's a thin line between love and hate.
Where do you, like Sam was talking about inspiration. And we were just talking about inspiration, seeing all of these other things, and you go in and at what point does it become stealing, right?
Woo!
Because
the art of the steal.
It's a thin line. But,
give me that.
But I heard the beat and stop. So let's talk about that thin line, man. I'm currently watching a show called The Boys, and I talked to you about that last week.
Let's hear it for the boys
on Instagram Live. Saturday, Sammy goes live on Instagram for a little drawing, so check that stuff
every
out.
Saturdays and Sundays. Catch me on IG.
But we were talking about a show called The Boys. Now I'm watching this show called The Boys, right? And I'm watching it, but I'm watching it carefully because as a creator, sometimes you can't help, but some of that stuff stays in your head, right? And subconsciously, when you're creating your own stuff, you bring some of that stuff into your stories. So there's a thin line between being inspired by what you see and then completely just, inadvertently just kind of swiping some of that and putting it into your book. So how do we keep that from happening? What do you think?
I've been thinking. So I can tell you I get inspired a lot. So I look at a lot of, I'm learning how to do special effects in Infinity Photo. So, like, for instance, Psycho Crazy, he's shooting the bats out. And so I wanted, like magic coming out of his hands. So I look at a lot of images to say, all right, and I'm trying to figure out how many colors are in that image. What are the tones? How did they accomplish that? So I studied the image to try to recreate the image to get that effect, the effect. But I could tell you, what I do is I have a lot of art of books, and sometimes I get, poses or scene ideas from that. Like the cover that I did for Cash the Crazies, which was the pinup on on the first kick.
DustBunnyMafia.com. You know,
So you have 700 comic strips. Now, I know, I mean, and Sam, when we, Sam's got a character that was actually was going to be like a comic strip. Now, I know comic strips are very hard to write. So how do you come up with like the jokes, the punchlines, the writing? Tell me about that process. Like you sit down and you're like, all right, what am I going to write about today? It's Dust Bunny Mafia. Like, how does it happen?
well, I mean, originally it was just whatever kind of joke. You know, watched a lot of mobster, you know, TV shows, read a lot of mobster books, things like that, and both, you know, fictional and true crime style. And originally it was like, all right, I'm going to tell my own stories, and it was just, you know, I would get an idea while, you know, I was in the car, while I was sitting on the train going to work. I would, you know, one couple of strips I actually introduced when I was living in LA. One of my best friends would come over every Monday night and like clockwork, and he'd be one that I would bounce ideas off of. And, you know, we'd have these interactions, and he would take things to the extreme. And I was like, and my wife would turn over and she's listening to this and she's like, you guys are just ridiculous. And I would take some of that and I would just throw that into a strip, basing it, you know, on some of the characters on real life friends and family. You know, there was one strip in particular where my wife really hates mustard, the condiment. And at one point she was making me lunch and she was making me a sandwich with mustard on it. And she got like the tiniest drop on her. And she was like, I hate this stuff. Why do you like it? And so I turned it into a strip based on that and like kind of blew it up. And
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that is great. Yeah, it's funny. Like I said, where inspiration strikes, right? Now you've been doing this since 2012. What has the feedback been? Like, you know, what have people said about it? Like, have you, you know, contacted anybody been in contact with you about, you know, taking it somewhere with what you're doing?
I mean, the feedback's been good. It's been steadily growing. The first couple of years, I was really just kind of doing my own thing. I was posting it online, wasn't really expecting much feedback. You know, I'd post it up on Facebook to my friends, but it took several years before I actually put a business page together or anything.
So that was Brett Giuliano, and the guy's got. I'm surprised he hasn't been picked up.
Yeah, no, Dust Bunny Mafia, baby. I'm all about you. I'm telling you right now, I'm getting a deck of cards. Like, that's awesome, bro.
It's, you know what's funny? It's I get ideas from everybody we talk to. I get inspired because you think about
the token.
The token, yes. I was like, oh, yeah. Suki now.
Yeah. So that token, I was like, wait a minute.
He sent me the link for the Kickstarter page, so I'll make sure that it's on the show.
Sweet. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, obviously the Kickstarter is going through February 17th. It is January 29th. So guys, get on there, get on Kickstarter. The link is going to be at the bottom of this. Hit it up and make sure that he gets funded. And when you get a chance, go to dustbunnymafia.com. He's got an awesome store, bro. He's got a whole bunch. He's got T-shirts. He's got all of his books.
He's killing it.
He's got Leo's hat,
literally
pen. He's got pins. No, seriously.
The mob boss.
I love that he's got little crochet, little stuffed animals. Like that's. I mean, he's got a whole bunch of stuff going on.
He's thought of everything. He's thought of everything. The guy is an entrepreneur. You know, he's really got his finger on the pulse. It's just a matter of time. I can see somebody picking this up.
So crazy.